I'm gonna be
that.
super real here with my experience with the Grammys. It is difficult to watch as an artist, because so there's multiple reasons. One, and you fight yourself because part of you knows that this is kind of a rigged game.
Yeah.
Like they don't award fairly. It's not necessarily based on the product. There's so many other parts that are. It's the connection. It's the it's the timing. There's so many things that go into it. It's a vote. Like and the process isn't. I mean, you can participate, and I know people that work with local Grammy chapters, and all. I know people that do that stuff, but it just still seems so far away as an artist, and it can be sometimes. When I watch the Grammys, it can send me spiraling a little bit because I feel like, even though I know all that, I still want to get there.
Right.
Like if you're gonna be honest with yourself, you still like that's what you grew up watching. All your heroes you had, they got Grammys. They were at least at the awards.
And both things can be true. Like you can critique
Right.
the establishment and still, as a personal goal or whatever,
Right.
want that achievement.
Right, and you can understand that for a long time the Grammys were racist, but you still feel like you still want that level of achievement. Now the thing with me particularly is it just sometimes feels so far away. Like you look at that and you look at what you're doing and you look at the struggles that you're having as an independent artist and you're like, am I ever going to get there?
Mm.
Is it possible?
It's definitely possible.
But it can seem impossible when
can.
you watch it.
Yeah.
Like I can rationalize, I could plot out how you could, how it's possible to get there. But there's a million people trying to get there. And sometimes it just feels like, dang, I might not ever know what that's like. And that can be disheartening. And I don't think a lot, like, when I look at Facebook, because I'm friends with a lot of artists, so I look at their IG, everyone puts this hopeful spin on it. It's like, I'm gonna be there next year. Or even people that I know were like they were background singers. And people that worked on awards, like next year it's gonna be my award. Next year that's gonna be my show. And I love that because I do the same thing. Like that's, but somewhere in the back of there is that little bit of doubt. And I think we have to acknowledge that. Like,
make room for all of it.
Yeah, you have to be real because realistically, sometimes when I watch those award shows, I'm like, yo. And me, part of me is just like I don't even care. But I do care.
You do.
I do care because I do want that. Like I do want to be recognized with some of the best people that are in the industry. Because there is a level of respect that comes with even being nominated, even being there.
Right.
And I think that would be cool. I think it's something that I still aspire to. But yeah, when I watch the show, I'm like, yo.
Yeah, I'm sure that it's conflicting for a lot of artists watching it.
Right.
Especially Black artists who feel like we don't always get our due.
Like I was dumb hype to see Flying Lotus and Thundercat win. Because I've been watching Flying Lotus since 2004. Like Flying Lotus been making music since 2004. And I first heard his beats on Adult Swim. And now to see him producing one of the albums or alternative R&B for the year with Thundercat, and to watch him, he built his own label up, like his Brain Feeder Records that Thundercat's a part of, and he kind of carved out his own lane. And to me, that's so much, like that's so inspiring. Like those are the wins. And when he won, like it was on IG, like they hugged each other, there was an embrace. They didn't think they felt like me, like that's not the place for them. Like that establishment would never recognize their art. That they had to make their own lane to even get their fan base or get recognized. But that can still turn into this mainstream level of success if you just keep grinding and doing your thing. And those are the stories that, keep me going. Anderson .Paak is another one who won.
Tronada.
Yeah, K Tronada. Like there was a lot of
what
big
I loved
wins.
about K Tronada winning was that all the people that he collaborated to, it was like
everybody
they
won.
came up.
Right. And what's funny about K Tronada? So I know some of the guys that were on the scene with him that worked with him. And they said SoundCloud won a Grammy. Like all the SoundCloud producers were hyped for K Tronada because that's where he got his start from.
Right.
Like before SoundCloud it's more corporate now. Now when it was the Wild West of music, like there was some pockets that was lit, and K-Tro was one of the dudes that was out there making that fire.
Yeah.
And he's another one, carved the lane, found a space, and eventually won a Grammy. So like when I say that, I know it's possible, but when you're looking at that, sometimes it feels like, dang. And especially when you've been trying for for years and you put things out and it doesn't hit like you want, like it can be disheartening. But you know, Anderson .Paak used to be Breezy Lovejoy. Like I don't know if y'all probably don't know that, but I've been following his career for a long time. I watched the changes he made, and you know, to see him now, you know, he put an album out with Bruno Mars, like one of the biggest pop stars. Like anything can happen. The truth is anything can happen. But sometimes when you look at that, you just feel like, wow, can that happen for me though? And I think that's a conversation that artists don't always get to have, because we're supposed to be up all the time. You know, like social media wants you to be up all the time.
That's not realistic.
It's not realistic.
You're human.
Yeah. But, you know, so I wanted to say that publicly because I feel like that is a conversation. We got to start talking about that side of it too. I mean, you know, there's a reason that a lot of artists, you know, take their lives early. There's a reason that, you know, in the past couple of years, I've known a few people who were artists that I knew pretty closely, and you know, they're not here anymore. And part of it is a little bit of that. Like
the pressure, the stress.
The pressure to stay up, the pressure to continue to create, even though your creations aren't being recognized or there's no fruit to it. And you know it's good, and the people around you know it's good, but you can't seem to find it kind of break through, and you can't figure it out. That can be super frustrating.
I think this is me coming from a meditation point of view. I think it's important as well for people to have their own definition of success versus what society is saying or what it looks like at the Grammys or whatever. Right. Because, and the other thing is measuring your impact. And we've talked about this before. It's like, numbers is okay. You could fudge those a little bit. We see that all the time. Yeah. Influencers online are like, we are living in an age where numbers are like a smoke mirror kind of thing. Right. But the impact that you have, you cannot necessarily measure that in numbers. Right. When somebody messages you and say, yo, this song that you made really got me through a hard time or whatever, and I was at this low in my life, or, you know, all that, that's impact. Right. You know, so I think that you kind of have to recalibrate a little bit. And I think it's a journey of recalibrating sometimes what success is for you as you progress.